Today's topic, everyone, is social media. So I have a few questions for you, Pastor, and want to just discuss about it and get a Christian perspective about social media and how things work. Because I know we're all on it, and oftentimes we don't think we're just on Facebook or on Instagram, whatever. We don't think how it affects us from a Christian standpoint. So gonna go into a few questions here.
Sure.
For you.
Yep.
You have, I don't even have this listed, but just out of my mind, like what social media are you part of?
I have a Facebook account. I think I have an Instagram, but I don't use it. I had to start it because my daughter's school, they post stuff in Instagram for that. Only that purpose I got on Instagram, but
Okay.
I don't have anybody added except the school.
Okay.
I used to have some Google stuff, but that's all gone now.
Okay.
So pretty much from that, and I have a Twitter account too.
You tweet?
No, not anymore. Not that much. I used to do it sometime, at least retweet, but now I hardly go there. So that's the extent to which I have. But yeah.
How about, I know I have, personally, I have Facebook, Instagram. I never use Instagram either, barely. Twitter, and I think that's it. How about you, Biju? What do you have?
The kind of same.
Same
Facebook,
thing, right?
Twitter.
And you probably never use Twitter or...
Twitter, I just have subscribed to some of the feeds.
Yeah.
That too was for some of the coins. There was a time when people were crazy about coins. And after that, I stopped.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So, diving in here, Pastor, what's the importance of social media in a Christian's life?
That's a very interesting question. What's the importance of social media in a Christian life? I'm thinking what to say about it because, social media did not exist, when Jesus was in this world.
Right.
So sometimes you have to just imagine things.
Is it important at all?
Yeah, so you have to think whether Jesus would have actually used it. Some people would say that, he would have had a lot of followers on Twitter and he would have most friends on Facebook and all those stuff.
Yep.
But I think, so social media is an evolution, it's something which happened, not too far long ago. But I do think that social media is a good tool if it is used in the correct way. And it can be a very destructive tool also if not handled properly. Now, just to take your question a slightly different way, I think that there are some points which needs to be highlighted. So,
okay.
And we need to derive some principles from the Bible and see. So we all know that Bible doesn't promote bragging.
Right.
The virtue or the character which Bible actually promotes is humble. That's what it is. And Jesus said, "What your right hand does, your left hand should not know." So when you see that, I think in social media there is a danger that you could be bragging about yourself a lot. The other thing is it can also generate a lot of envy and discontent among people. Maybe we can elaborate that later. But also one of the biggest issues is waste of time. How much time is wasted with those things. So for a Christian, the priority is what are Christians' priorities, and is social media really helping them to advance those priorities, or are they being distracted and derailed from the purpose and their mission? That's something an individual needs to evaluate themselves. So what I'm saying is social media importance, I would not say it's very important or not important, but I think it's just a tool, like we have a lot of tools out there, but it's very important how we use social media as a tool.
Right.
So that would be my opening remarks for the question you just asked.
Okay.
So, Pastor, you just said when we spend time on social media, it's actually a waste of time. So, can you just let us know how much time should a Christian be actually spending on social media?
Yeah,
if at all.
Yeah, that's again a challenging question because we cannot prescribe anything. But I think, okay, so I said you have a Facebook, right? So it's so easy that once you open it, for you to just scroll
all day long.
and
yeah.
then let's say you open something, then it can lead you to other, and you won't notice before before you spend like 30 minutes or so. So I don't have, even though I use Facebook, I don't have Facebook app on my phone. And for some time I used to have, some time ago I used to have Facebook portal. Actually, I was logged in with the browser. So that's not like you don't get any notification, nothing.
Right.
It's more like you have to go. But
And
still
physically look.
Yeah, so still I found that was too much. So I completely logged out of it. So now the only way I can check my Facebook is either I need my iPad or I need to be in front of a computer.
Right.
So what I'm going to say is when if you're getting instant notification, like I have always muted my notifications, but I know that when somebody likes a picture, somebody posts a picture, you get all these notifications, and the question is how much it's going to distract you. So is social media controlling you, or you are controlling how you use social media? But the fact is that the whole concept is built around engaging people, and so it's very difficult to fight against that tendency.
Right.
So I don't know. I would say if it is used for the sake of, for the real purpose of knowing, getting updates, and that is in a very controlled way, and you can actually resist the temptation, it's fine. There is a funny example I want to give you at this point of time. So when I was doing my master's course here, one of our subject was about spiritual formation. In that subject, basically we were given an assignment to take, if I remember correctly, it was 21 days, fast from something to which you're addicted. So one of my classmates, what he did was, he decided that he will take fast from Facebook. So he logged himself out of Facebook, and within 1 hour he started getting calls from people.
Wow.
Yeah, so is it everything okay with you? Did anything happen to you? So he was telling later that then only he realized how much he was, hooked
Attached.
into the whole thing.
Yeah.
That he would post like picture or do something, so that even after 1 hour of not having activity, people were like
Worried about him.
Yeah, worried about him.
Yeah.
So what I mean to say is, so it can really become distractive, without you really noticing it.
Right.
That's true.
And that leads me into the next question, like more of like, what are the dangers of social media to Christians?
Well,
I know you touched on it a little bit just now.
Yeah. So for me, the primary or number one thing is, of course, time-based.
Yep.
Number two is the content itself.
Right.
Because let's say you have a lot of friends, probably, and it's not everybody is not Christians, or everybody is not having the right view, but there is a lot of stuff which gets come. And the other problem is a lot of falsehood, false reporting. A lot of propaganda, fake news.
Yeah.
A lot of things which are not good to view.
Right.
Right. A lot of things which are not needed. So
Right.
So all those things are coming, and then for a Christian, a lot of times their views can be shaped by what they are watching, and then it can also, as I said earlier, lead you to become addicted to it. Any form of addiction is not good for a Christian.
Yep.
So I would say there are some real dangers associated with that. And so a Christian should be very careful about those things.
Okay, Pastor. So my next question is so we as a Christian, so what type of things can a Christian post on media and what they should not post?
Yeah, so the primary principle first of all, I normally don't post things unless it's something related to the church event or stuff. I used to post at some point of time. Then I found it's not that worth, and so I stopped it. So anyway, but I'm not saying that posting is bad. There are definitely a lot of good posts which comes. So first thing we have to see is, in my view, is if something we are posting, is it beneficial or not? Another thing is, when you read Ephesians chapter 4:29, it says, "Don't use foul or abusive language. Let everything you say be good and helpful, so that your words will be an encouragement to those who hear them." So your word should be an encouragement to those who hear them.
Yep.
So the thing is, the things we post, is it going to be encouraging to others? Some people are out there to just showcase themselves or brag about themselves. And the question is it going to encourage? If it's going to encourage, then great. But if you feel like it's not going to be beneficial, I think Christians should not be posting. Another thing I want to tell you is don't just forward or share things where you have no verification, right? That's a right source.
Right.
That is one of the real issues I see. Like, after 2 years, still some messages are circulating as if it happened yesterday.
Right.
Yeah. So there is all those risk associated with that. So I think there is nothing wrong in posting, but make sure what you post is really beneficial. And I also feel like we should be very careful about what we post.
Yep.
Okay, one danger I always tell people is, we all know about personal data, privacy, all these issues.
Yep.
And when so today, by visiting a person's profile, a person can easily get the children's date of birth, right? Because, all those information is out there. So the question is, how much of your information are you giving out? So there is a lot of phishing and attacks and other stuff where somebody will actually try to gather information about you. And so the question is, if somebody really wants to do some harm to you,
they could.
Yeah, they could. And how much of that is available online, and how much you are giving about your maybe location, about your children, and sometimes you give more information which can ultimately lead to destruction. So I think that's why we should be very careful how we do it.
Yeah, we never know who's lurking online, and looking at.
Yeah, and there are fake IDs too, right? So there are fake accounts which are created with your name, with your stuff, with your picture, and they can make friends of your friends and all those stuff. So that's all. We have seen so many of those happening. So
yeah, very good points. That leads me to the next question here. How has the use of social media affected society as a whole?
Yeah, I think there are many issues, and there are a lot of people who have done a lot of research on it. But I think, number one, I feel like it has made people disconnected.
Right.
There is also a lot of virtual thing, like a lot of likes, but no meaningful conversations happening, right?
No.
So it's one thing that, I don't know how many of you know this, but there is a race among young people about how many likes they got for their picture. So there are people who try to put crazy and not that appropriate pictures so that they can get more likes and they can brag about it among friends and things like that. So
it's like a competition. I've heard
it's
about
a
competition.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is that it has definitely impacted the society in a bad way. And let's say you're standing in a bus stop. Normally, what is a sign you see is everybody looking at their phone.
Right.
Nobody wants to talk to each other, right? Even in every there was a picture I saw some time ago where there are so many people, but everybody's looking at their screen and nobody's talking to each other. So I think that has broken the society in general, because we are made to have meaningful relationships. So meaningful friendship, meaningful relationship. That's how God has created us. And this virtual is also a relationship in one way, but a lot of times that is not equivalent to things. So one of the examples I say, let's say you are sitting with somebody face to face talking to that person, and immediately you get a notification or ping on your phone. So you leave that person and start looking at the phone and start doing something, unless it's an emergency, right?
Right.
What are you doing? Really, you're telling that you're not my priorities, but somebody, somewhere,
some random person.
Random. So I think that has become a normal expectation now, right? If two people are having communication. So I think the depth is getting lost.
Right.
And people are not investing into... So you may have 1,000 friends on Facebook, but you may die
How much
alone.
do you actually know?
Yeah. You may die alone. Basically, what does it mean is... how meaningful are they, and do you have real friends, or it's all virtual?
Right.
So it's a changing economy when you talk about all these stuff. But I feel like as a society, it has changed. Of course, there are a lot of positives which have come. I'm not just going to say that it's all negative. But it has also come with a lot of negativity, which is not going to be helpful. And it has also made people very distracted, in my view. And people
Yeah.
get restless and all those stuff. So I think, in large, we have so many examples, but we should look at it, and it has really changed the society in a big way.
And one thing I wanted to bring up just came in my mind now, actually. Also, there's a lot of challenges that they put on Facebook that kids do, and they hurt themselves, or they have, and parents discover it 6 months later or
Yep.
1 year later, and when it's on the news finally.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
there's also a big impact.
Yep.
So, my next question to you, Pastor, is how can the church use social media effectively to tell others about Christ? And
Yeah, I think church can use, because this is a generation which is all virtual, and I don't think anybody is out of it, because today if somebody tells that there is a store or some place, what is the first thing we do? We go to Google and search for that, look at the reviews.
that's
Right.
right.
Yeah, if somebody tells me that there is a good restaurant, okay, very rarely will I go directly without looking.
Correct.
So I won't really know what others have said about it, right? So it's the same thing I think a church can use. So there was a generation which was a pull generation. There was a time when it was all about push. I think it's now pull. What is the difference between pull and push is earlier you would give stuff to people like pamphlets or notices
Right.
and stuff like that, and people would take it. Now people are not taking it. It's more like people are actually seeking out what they want.
Right.
So I think all churches should have a presence in online, especially, and social media presence should be there. The media ministry should be there. I think messages should be made available. If the enemy or the devil is trying to put a lot of bad stuff out there, church should be trying to put a lot of good stuff. I think one of the reasons why we do this podcast is there are so many podcasts which talks about a lot of stuff, but we also are trying to do something positive, yes. And then there is this whole concept of cyber evangelism. There is a whole concept where it's all about, there are people who are full-time evangelists who do ministry online.
Yeah.
So the cyber mission, there is a whole thing like that.
Yeah.
So I think depending on the size and depending on how the location of the church should. So I also, as you guys know, that I also work in a student organization. I volunteer. So one of the things I've seen is there is no way you can talk about a student camp or student meet without using social media.
Right.
That's the number one forum where they want to promote their events.
Yep.
You just can't put it in a newspaper
No.
because nobody will read
No
that.
one will show up.
Yeah, you even the email is not going to work that much. So it's mostly social media. So I think church should be using it to the large extent possible. But at the same time, they should also be realistic, because sometimes the quality of what you put does matter a lot. Let's say a church cannot put quality video stuff. They should stop themselves from doing it because there is no point.
Yeah.
So I think based on how much resources God has given and how much people want to do, church should use it.
Awesome. As a pastor of a church, have you heard of, you touched on it a little bit, but have you heard of bad experiences related to, cell phone, social media
Oh, absolutely.
in general? I'm sure you've heard a lot, but
Yeah, absolutely. I personally, there are many examples, but I can bring at least two examples. One example, or not an example, it shouldn't be said, it's really it happened. So one story is very, very, both these stories are sad, but one story is very tragic. So I know of this guy who had an affair online. So basically what happened is there was this girl who, I think it was through Facebook, yes. So, she contacted and they spoke for many, many years, but never met. So he used to send this girl money
Really?
Yeah, so gift, phone, all those stuff for a
Yeah.
long time, and they were planning to get married. And so when the time came, ultimately, so he was very much emotionally involved,
Right.
and so when the time came for them to get married, so he said, "I'm going to come now
Yep.
to your city. I'm going to leave out all the details for
Yep, yep.
protecting the
Right.
privacy of the So when they said, so what happened in that scenario is, so all of a sudden she was trying to say some excuses, this excuse or that excuse. So finally she said, by the way, I did not tell you, I am very sick. I have this problem, I have this problem. So then eventually she was trying to, get
out
rid
of
of
it.
him, get out of it. But he was so persistent, he said, no, that's problem, no problem.
Yep.
The story went on like, even if we get married, we won't have kids.
Yep.
So then he, basically, he said, no problem, we will adopt, all those stuff. So I will cut short the story. So eventually, finally, he realized, or he came to know through something that was a organized crime. This is an organized, basically, gang of people.
Fake. Yeah.
And they had people whose job is they do this all day.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically they extract money, they get all these
Getting
stuff.
all the gifts, selling it for money.
Yep,
Got it.
yep. So when you really think about from a victim's perspective in this scenario, he basically lost so much years.
For no reason.
Yeah, for no reason.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult to counsel this person out of that issue because
Right.
something says no because he had real conversation with a female voice, right? I would say just a female voice.
Or they talked on the phone too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so chat, email,
Yeah,
phone and all
yeah.
those stuff. So, but very less on the phone because
I'm
they
sure.
only work
It's
during
fake.
the...
Yeah.
So that was one thing which I have come across. The other one, I think there is a lot of, when you say about phone, like,
Yeah.
one of the incident I came to know was, this is very interesting, like somebody called a person home and basically somehow manipulated them to go to the bank, withdraw all the money in their bank. So they said, we will arrest you, we have arrest warrant, something, they made up some story. And the funny thing is that they made this person deposit the money in an exchange where the money gets transferred to bitcoins.
Untraceable.
Yep. So, and this person for some reason, so what happened is they staged it so well. So they said, okay, you get out of your home, there will be a cab coming. So immediately a cab comes.
Okay.
And the cab takes this person to the bank.
Right.
So it was so staged. So there are a lot of things like that.
IRS scam and
Yeah.
bunch of
we
them.
hear about all those things, but
Yeah.
the two examples I said, these are not something I read online or I heard online or somebody told me. These are in
Real.
both these cases. I know the victims.
Okay.
So yeah, there are many others, but I think that's the reason why we should be very, very careful.
Cool. Thank you for those examples.
Yep, thank you. So, Pastor, just want to ask that how active are you on social media and does it benefit you at all?
Yeah, I told you in the beginning that I'm not that
Yeah, you
active.
touched
I
on
used
this
to be.
before.
I used to be, but somehow I felt like that's not very helpful, at least for personally. So I'm not. So, but as I said, I go there once in a while, not for any other reason, just to see if there is any updates from anybody, something happened, because normally you come to know about what happened to someone nowadays.
Through social media.
Yeah, social media. So I just go there and I rarely post. I don't think I have posted anything for the last couple of years. Maybe some church event, shared some events. I have to check what did I do last. I stopped posting all the pictures because I had first-hand experiences of how Facebook pictures were misused. Misused in a sense like, you post it with the thing like people are seeing it, but then those same pictures are taken and used in, could be used in any way. So I've stopped posting anything, we all know about, picture morphing and all those stuff.
Yep.
So it's like if somebody wants to do some harm to you,
They can.
you're basically giving it. So yeah, so I use it very less. As I said, Twitter, I don't know. Recently, I actually installed, but no notification, nothing. I think there was some reason I did that for checking on something which was only available on Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's where I stand right now. I'm not saying I won't get back, but I really don't feel
Any benefits?
it's good for sharing families, but yeah, first of all, I don't think it's worth wasting. There are a lot of other stuff we could do same time. That's just my personal conviction.
Yep, absolutely. That goes to the next question, and you may have touched on this earlier, but why do people post things through which they try to show off? Does it help or harm them?
Oh, absolutely. If somebody is posting something to help, like we said, in the beneficial, yeah, that will help. Let's say you put a verse or you put a encouraging word or something, yes, absolutely. But if somebody is putting something to show off, the first intention is to create envy and jealousy and all those stuff. I don't think that's helpful at all. So some people may do some things for fun. I'm not saying that's wrong. Like some people do. But a lot of times if it is to just show off, know, and to show others. The other side of the thing which I thought we should have, we should talk about that a little bit is, let's say you will never put your failures in Facebook. You will only put good things, right?
Yep.
So when somebody is looking at you, everything is going perfect for you, but that may not be the reality. So Facebook profile doesn't reflect the reality.
Right.
So if you look in the Bible talks about everything in a very clear way. Like if somebody had a failure, it talks about the failure. Somebody had, So but in Facebook, it's more about showcasing who
persona.
you are and like things like that. So I think that's a very dangerous issue. So I think we should not post anything to say a message, harm anybody. But if you're posting something good, it's okay. But there are a lot of things where you could create harm.
And I think sometimes that happens unintentionally too. So let's say if someone got a new phone or someone got a new bag, they post, I have a new bag.
Yeah.
Then there's one of their friends who can't afford that bag or can't, they can't,
Right.
they're like, they got a bag and then that hurts someone else and this person has no idea because they didn't think it through.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever bag or whatever shoe or whatever they post, that's the newest and greatest and latest.
Yeah.
So.
But then it also has to do with the bragging part, right?
Right, exactly.
So my question is, does bragging go well with what we understand from the Bible as a Christian character?
Yep.
And the other thing also, I would just say that, self-promotion contradicts biblical teaching.
Yeah.
I wrote a blog about it many years ago. That's the reason why if I'm going somewhere and I don't give my pictures and people extract it somewhere else, they can do it. But what I'm going to say is, if somebody else is doing, that's another thing. But if you are trying to promote yourself,
Right.
that's self-promotion.
Yep.
And I think that completely contradicts the servant leadership model which Jesus taught to us. So I think for a Christian, they should really think, where their heart is in this issue.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, Pastor, my next question is a bit concerning for the parents. So, as a parent, so how do we ensure like our kids are watching correct content on social media, and what kind of exposure should we allow our children on? Staying safe, and should we even allow kids to be on social media?
Yeah, I don't think unless they are age appropriate, they should not.
Yeah.
Because it's even YouTube.
Yeah.
So I was talking to someone, I don't know, so you have YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
So somebody was telling me that even YouTube Kids have videos which are not appropriate for kids. Oh. That's right. So a lot of times, so that's why my way of thinking about it is, just like you won't, I think I spoke it somewhere, I don't know where it was. Just like you won't leave a kid in a mall like that.
Yep.
Right.
So you should be careful that you are taking care of them, on their online things too. Yep. So let's say, for example, if you come across something, I will say just you give your iPad unlocked to your kid, and you're not monitoring,
And they're sitting there for...
They could go to browser, they could go to YouTube, they could do anything.
Yep.
Same with social media. You all know that a lot of videos comes.
Random videos will show up.
Which are rated not good for kids.
Yep.
So I think the best thing which parents can do is, first of all, don't give them. I sometimes see like 5 years, 6 years have Facebook accounts, which is our...
That's
so
ridiculous.
We should at least have an age appropriateness when it comes to social media. Not only social media, giving access online. I think monitoring should be there to make sure, because at the end of the day, it's going to damage kids. It has a very damaging impact, and without knowing, and they are innocent, they don't know. So we should be very careful with that.
Yeah, that's upon us to take care of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you are taking your kid to a park, let's say, how much attention you pay, more attention needs with this.
Yep.
Social media or iPad or any of those, even TV for that sake. Right?
And now kids are getting iPads right from school itself. Saying, Here you go.
Yeah. So that really needs to be monitored, and you have to
Right.
just make sure that they're not getting into something which is not appropriate. So that needs to be taken care of.
Yep, absolutely. My next question is, like, what are the different types of social media out there now? What should we avoid? I mean,
I think that's
weird,
a very tough
question.
So it's changing every day, and if you go and talk to a high school kid today,
they might know something we have no idea.
Yeah. So they have. So maybe Sam, you know this. Probably when you were in the college, or maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to date your age, but so there was a time where it was only the kids who used to be in Facebook, like the college kids.
I think only you need an EDU email to get in.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know. Okay. Anyway, so only kids. Then all the parents and all the people.
Yeah.
And kids left it. Now children don't use Facebook because it's all now parents, right?
They're just on it, but they don't use it.
Yeah, they don't use it because they knew that parents are monitoring. So they moved on to something else.
And why did Facebook do it? They want to make more money.
Yeah.
So
So it's has evolved. So I think we are talking just Facebook, Instagram, Twitter here, but I think we should have some young kids here, or probably they will say some names which we may not have heard about it.
Right.
And I knew a few which I'm forgetting now. But anyway, the main thing I guess is there are, if something is creating harm, we should avoid it. But we cannot nail it down to one. But I think we should keep the principle in mind. What this is all doing. So.
And one thing I want to bring up just out of, it's always important to also, if you do post photos, to turn off geotagging on your photos, because each photo will contain your location of where you took the photo. Oh. If you don't turn off geotagging.
Okay.
So, just a thought that popped in my mind.
It's a good.
So you can download a photo. If geotagging was turned on, you can go into the properties and see the exact location of where that photo was taken.
Oh, okay.
So a lot back to privacy.
Okay. So. Yeah, that's a good information.
Yeah.
So my next, our last question to you, Pastor, is like, this is something which most of us have concerns with. Like, how do we ensure we don't get addicted to social media and we don't end up in a situation where we are spending more time, and instead of spending time with family and God, church, and the things which benefit us, we don't spend time, but we spend more time on social media.
Yeah, so I think I think that if something is controlling you, you're addicted to that. Right. So if you're not controlling, if you are controlling, it's fine. Yep. So I think as a Christian, we should see is social media or anything else, are they controlling us or we are controlling? So the good check is the limit. Can you live like 1 week without looking at the Facebook?
I did it for 3 days one time.
Okay.
Over the weekend. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you feel about it? And I think the most surprising thing would be that nothing happened.
Right.
You may have a feeling like, okay, if I don't keep up to date, the world is going to, Third World War will start. No, it's not going to, because you will know. So I think that a Christian, if they are addicted, they are going to have, the quality time will be gone. Yeah. So let's say a dining table, there should not be any phones.
Correct.
Yeah, one of my colleague shared that in his family there is a rule, they put all the phones in microwave during the dinner time. Because in the microwave they don't have some signal issue, it won't work.
Right.
So the point is, if we are having eating and still you're checking the phone, you're not going to have any meaningful conversations, right? That's one thing. The other thing is if you're having, any type of with kids, if kids are coming and asking you something, but you are on the phone,
Yep.
they will lose the trust because they will say that, okay, they are not interested. That's what a signal they capture. So they become reserved. They go
Yep.
into their isolation. They will never approach. So that can bring a lot of communication barriers. So I think the simple check I would say is social media controlling you or are you controlling? Who decides when you will go and check? Is it you are urged to check that, or is it like, okay, now I have some time, let me just
Check quick and get out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm guaranteeing you, majority people will have a struggle with that.
Right.
It's more the urge, it's more the notification, it's more the unknown.
Yep.
It's the feeling that you're missing the unknown,
Yep.
which will make you carve for constantly refreshing, trying to check for the latest feed and all those stuff. That's just going to keep that, and then once you are hooked to it, you will be completely consumed by it.
Yes.
So you have to be very careful.
Yes. Absolutely. So, thank you so much, Pastor. I know it's a very important topic, and thanks for taking the time to go over all that. I learned a lot personally. I know, Biju, you did as well.
Yeah.
Make sure you tweet this episode.
Okay. Yeah. We'll tweet it out there, Facebook, Instagram. But yeah. But thanks for the time, and I've learned a lot, and just want to reach out to our audience too. Definitely tweet us or definitely reach out to us if you have further questions about anything Pastor said. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.